Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Hello, American families. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell. And if you love your family, care about them deeply, and want to learn how to protect them in every facet of your life, well, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show for you today, and I know that you're going to love it. Coming up in Segment 2 and Segment 3, we have Mike Visser from Silver Bullet Firearms and Training in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Mike's a good friend of mine. He is very, very good at what he does. He's the lead trainer there. And we're going to be speaking about different modes of carry. How do I carry that perfect gun that I've chosen to protect myself and my family? There's a lot of different things you need to learn about, a lot that you need to consider, and Mike and I are going to help you through that. Then, of course, in Segment 4, we've got the wrap-up, where I'll tell you what I think. But first, starting out in Segment 1, let's delve deeply down inside the canyons, the chasms, the recesses of inside Skip's brain. What is going on in my life? Well, folks, I just did something that was very intimidating to me. I built a woodshed. Now, I know that probably doesn't sound intimidating to a lot of people, but I am not mechanically inclined. It's really odd. It's like, I can teach at a university. I can publish books, write books, do a radio show, carry a firearm, shoot. I can do all these things that a lot of people would just be intimidated by, but building a woodshed, wow. I guess all work is a process, but if you don't know the process, it can really be kind of scary. And so what do? I just went out in the backyard. I thought about it for about 3 months first, just because I was, kind of leery of the whole idea. I plotted it out in my own mind, and then I went down to Menards, Home Depot, bought the supplies, came back. And I got to tell you, I just finished that woodshed last night. Someone who knew what they were doing would look at that woodshed and say, fire up the bulldozer, we got to start over. But you know what? I am very proud of my woodshed. It's 8 foot by 12 foot. It'll hold most of the wood that I'm going to need for the winter, depending on how tough the winter is, who knows. Okay, so that one back side isn't straight. I don't care. I propped it up. I reinforced it. It doesn't look store-bought, but you know what? It's my woodshed, and I love it. And I made it so strong, I got up on the roof and I jumped up and down on that sucker. But hey, now I just have to go out and cut all the wood, fill it up with ash. We had emerald ash borer go through about 5 years ago, so I've got plenty of ash. It's a semi-hardwood. That should burn just fine and keep me and my family safe, dry, and warm all winter long. What else? Well, this is the height of the canning season. Tomorrow, we can more cabbage, more broccoli, and a lot of beans. You ever notice that when the green beans come on, they just grow and grow and grow and grow? It's like you're a slave to your bean patch, because if you let those little buggers get too big, they're all stringy, and they just aren't a joy to eat anymore. So you got to keep on top of those. You got to ride those suckers like a bronco. Get them inside, get them washed, get them snapped up, get them canned. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead and move right to the news. I'm moving away from political news. It's just depressing. And I just feel saturated, bombarded with politics. And I've never liked politics anyways. There's not a whole lot political about guns, other than the anti-gun movement, and those people are idiots anyways. I prefer not to concentrate on the D or the R or the red or the blue. It's a basic human right, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. It's a human right, whether you admit it or not. And if you want to protect your family, that's the one thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common. they love their families. I know we like to demonize each other, but in reality, a father loves his children, a mother loves his children, and you would die if you had to protect the kids that you love. And that's what it's all about. It's not about red or blue, right or left. It's about, do you love your family? Are you willing to train hard and do everything that you need to protect your family when the wolf comes a-knocking? All right, let's go to bearingarms.com and check out the news. This one caught my eye right away. Tennessee gun owner attacked by man with, drum roll please, a fork. I just couldn't help but chuckle at that one. Maybe it was a very large fork. I don't know. A Tennessee man just taught his attacker why you don't bring a fork to a gunfight. After church Sunday, the man, who has a valid carry permit in the state, and another individual headed over to the Suburban Lodge Hotel in Nashville. In the elevator up to the room, they were joined by 48-year-old James Grisham. When they reached their floor, the gun owner and his friend went one way, Grisham went the other. Okay, so far so good. However, a few minutes later, while opening the door to his room, the man says he was attacked by Grisham. At the time, the gun owner believed Grisham was trying to stab him with a knife. Well, I understand that, a metal object coming towards you. Thankfully, the man was able to knock Grisham down and retrieve his handgun, a Glock 19, nice gun, from a table inside his room. The gun owner shot Grisham in the bicep. The attacker tried to flee. However, the man was able to catch up to him and held him at gunpoint until police arrived. In his attempt to run away, Grisham dropped his weapon of choice, a fork. He was arrested on 2 charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Final score, Glock 1, fork 0. I love to laugh. I mean, parts of this isn't funny. I'm being attacked by a man with a fork. Harrowing experience. But, questions come to my mind when I'm reading these stories. First off, he had his Glock on a table inside the room, and he was outside the room. So he's telling us that he went unarmed. Now, it's possible that the church that he went to does not allow guns, but the fact is he was unarmed. So if the guy had attacked him with a fork outside, well, he may have been stabbed to death. Maybe he was a cook and he was just stabbing him with a fork to see if he was done. I don't know. But that question came to mind. And then he shot him in the bicep. I'm sure he didn't do that on purpose. It was just a bad shot. You get shook up, guy comes at you with a fork, and you get rattled. So he made a bad shot, but at least he hit him. And then he chased after him. Folks, I don't recommend that you do that. Don't pursue a fleeing felon unless you know he's going to hurt other innocent people. In this case, he dropped the weapon, that is his fork, and he was running away. Just let the guy go. You've got a blood trail. Call the police. Let them come, do their job. You're safe. Lock yourself in your hotel room. That's the best thing this guy could have done at that point. When you pursue someone, you're opening yourself up to other possibilities. Now, granted, everything turned out okay in this situation. But it doesn't always turn out that way. Let the fleeing felon go. Who knows? Maybe he had a backup spoon. You just never know. All right, what else we got? Also from bearingarms.com, Canadian patrol agents have a message for American visitors. As a general rule, I don't go to Canada. I'll tell you why in a bit here. Canadian border agents have a message for Americans looking to visit their country. Leave your firearms at home. Yep, that's why I don't go to Canada. According to WGRZ, gun seizures across Canada were up nearly 175% from 2012 to 2016, and about 91% of those were from U.S. citizens. Well, hey, we're the ones with all the guns, right? In August of last year, the Canada Border Services Agency felt the need to launch a formal campaign reminding Americans of Canada's firearm laws. Misguided fools. I think they're just jealous. I mean, let's face it, we've got some really nice guns here in America. Quote, "It is strongly recommended that you not carry your firearm when traveling to Canada and or transiting through Canada to reach another U.S. destination," the agency wrote. However, should you choose to travel with your firearms, you must declare all firearms in your possession at the first Canadian designated port of entry. You must also have all the necessary permits and have your firearm appropriately stored. We welcome our U.S. neighbors in Canada. To make your journey more pleasant, travel light, that is, don't carry any lead, and always remember to declare all goods with you, CBSA concluded. In other words, just don't bring your guns to Canada. That about sums it up. That's why I don't go to Canada. The thing is, for someone who doesn't carry a gun or who has never carried a gun before, you don't understand. Because when you carry a gun, when you get your training, you get your gun, you get used to that feeling of security. And when you have to disarm, it's like a part of you is gone. And I know that probably sounds crazy to people on the left, the anti-gunners, but that's the way it is. I have trained a lot so that I can defend my wife and my kids with my firearm. And I know in my brain that I can better protect them with the gun than without the gun. So I don't like going without it. I just don't like it. In Canada, I live here in Michigan. If I want to go fishing, hunting, that's why we have the Upper Peninsula. It's a little bit of all the good parts of Canada right here in the United States. All right, enough of Canada. Here's one more. Federal agent responsible for accidental discharge at Orlando International Airport. Well, you folks already know how I feel about that. I don't call them accidental discharges. Accidental discharges, children cover your ears, they occur only in your bedroom. Okay? There's no such thing as an accidental discharge. They're called negligent discharges. Guns don't go off accidentally. Guns go off when people touch the trigger and press the trigger. My pistol's in my holster right now. The only way that gun's going to go off inside my holster is if I spontaneously burst into flames. And if that happens, I'm not worried about accidental discharges. I'm going to drop and roll, okay? But hey, when you neglect the rules, guns go off. Let's see what happened with this guy here. An accidental discharge from a firearm prompted a scare at the Orlando International Airport Tuesday morning, but what's really scary is where it came from. Police said at approximately 11:20 a.m., an agent with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, wearing plain clothes as he was on vacation, was in the process of boarding a flight when he dropped his gun in the security checkpoint area and grabbed its trigger as it was heading for the floor. Oh, folks, that's bad. Police said while unslinging a shoulder bag, the bag caught the agent's holstered weapon, and as the agent tried to catch it, the trigger was pulled. The agent was struck in the heel and treated at the scene, but was then taken to the hospital as a precaution. No other injuries were reported. Oh, man. Folks, I got to tell you, this is one thing that I tell my classes, every class. I say, if you drop your gun, don't try to catch it on the way down. There's just too great of a chance that you catch it by the trigger. You get your finger, your thumb inside that trigger guard, it can go off, especially if you've modified the trigger press at all. I know it's first nature. It's like a reflex action, right? When you drop something, a pencil or your wallet, you try to catch it on the way down. But your wallet isn't going to blow up and shoot your head off. The gun will. So force yourself. Think about it ahead of time. If you drop your gun, don't try to catch it. Do not try to catch it. Here's a bystander quoted as saying, "I was standing about 10 feet away and all of a sudden I heard the gun go off," said Tony Ricci, who was traveling through Orlando when the incident occurred. "There are hundreds of people around. We looked about 6 feet away and the bullet was right there on the carpet." All right, so basically this guy got shot in the heel, so the federal agent didn't die. But just because you've got a fancy title, federal agent, that doesn't mean you're immune to the laws of cause and effect. If you try and catch your gun on the way down, there's a good chance you're gonna shoot yourself. So follow the rules. So all the rules of physics apply even to federal agents, okay? Okay, folks, that's about all the time we have in this segment. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Mike Visser from Silver Bullet Firearms and Training in Grand Rapids, Michigan, all about how to carry that gun of yours without shooting yourself in the heel. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
My name is CJ Coryell. Welcome to the Home Defense Show with my dad, Skip Coryell. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715 or visit elitefirearms.us. This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want to talk to you about keeping your kids safe around guns. I've never been a big fan of trigger locks, but I have to tell you, I have found a product called Child Safe One. It's a trigger blocker, not a trigger lock, and it works fantastic. I tried it out on my kids, and they could not get the Child Safe One off the training gun. I gave them 5 minutes. I sat there and I watched them, and they couldn't do it. Folks, I am satisfied, more than satisfied, that my kids are safe around Child Safe One. Here's the good thing about it. I can get that lock off the gun in under 2 seconds, but my kids can't even figure out how it works. Child Safe One is a win-win for everyone in the family. My wife's happy because she knows the guns are secure. My kids are happy because they're safe. And I'm happy because when the wolf comes a-knocking, I've got that gun cocked, locked, and ready to rock in less than 2 seconds. So go to globalgunsafety.com and get Child Safe One today. That's globalgunsafety.com. Check it out now and tell them the Home Defense Show sent you. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell, and we have on the phone with us an expert, a firearms expert, and a fellow instructor, a good friend of mine, Mike Visser from Silver Bullet Firearms and Training in Grand Rapids. Mike, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Skip, thanks for having me back. It's great talking to you again.
All right. Well, Mike, before we get too far into this, why don't you just refresh the listeners on who you are and your credentials?
Sure. Again, my name is Mike Visser. I am the lead instructor of the Firearms Training Division at Silver Bullet Firearms in Grand Rapids. I've been with the store there for about 12 years now, and I've been an NRA certified firearms instructor for about 13 years. Lifelong shooter, been shooting for 30 years, competitively for 13, and it's just been a fantastic experience going through this, not just learning it for myself, but helping other students learn these skills to help keep themselves safe.
That's amazing. Silver Bullet has been in business 12 years already?
Silver Bullet has been there for, October will be 13 or 14 years now.
Wow, that is awesome. Time flies. It's amazing how 12 years have gone by and I didn't get any older. It's just amazing. But let's talk about, different modes of carry, on-body carry, off-body carry. Tell the listeners what they need to know as far as choosing the right method of carry for themselves.
Different modes of carry. What's going to be comfortable? How accessible is it going to be? And how deeply do you need to conceal the firearm? Where are you going, and what's the environment going to be like? As far as the different ways that you're going to carry it, folks out there, you are going to have a Rubbermaid tote in your basement full of holsters that you don't touch anymore because you read something in a magazine article or on the internet somewhere and think, wow, this looks like the most fantastic holster ever. I'm going to buy one and try it, and 2 weeks later, it gets thrown in your holster barrel in the basement, and you never touch it again. So trust me from experience, you will have a Rubbermaid tote. Personally, I have 2 totes in my basement. They're just, I do, full of holsters that you just don't touch anymore. But with my main carry firearm, I actually do have 4 different styles of holsters that I will routinely rotate through depending on how I'm dressed, where I'm going, and how deeply it must be concealed.
I have one of those Rubbermaid totes as well, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So what's your primary carry gun?
My main primary carry gun is a Glock Model 19 3rd generation.
Awesome. That's on my list. So let me know when Silver Bullet has a sale on those.
Absolutely, Skip. I'll send you a message on that. But again, the common thing that I have with the 4 different holsters that I have for this one gun, for depending on how deeply it's concealed, is the location that it's carried in. Mm-hmm. The gun is always carried on my dominant side at the 3 to 4 o'clock position. So if I were to need to draw for the firearm, it is always in that same location. So I don't have to think, where's my gun today? Is it on the cross draw side? Is it small at the back? Is it on my right side? Where is my gun today? I don't have to think of that. It's all natural because of training. It is always in that same location, that 3 to 4 o'clock position.
Yeah, I understand that because I have tried out different methods of carry in different positions like you're talking about, and it's all that muscle memory. It's like 3,000 plus repetitions the same way every time, and you just automatically, you'll get startled and you'll go, one time I was carrying and I got startled in the parking lot. My hand instinctively went down to the about the 330 position, and I was carrying in a fanny pack that day. So
oh no.
Fortunately, it was nothing, but you do things automatically, and so it is a good, wise idea to always carry in the same position.
Absolutely, and train for how you carry too. If you're going to carry with a holster that has an active retention device, you need to train disabling that active retention device.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, he was at a competition, his very first shooting competition that he went through, and he had a brand new holster with that active retention device on it, but he'd never practiced with it. His first time on the clock, when that timer went off, it's a mind eraser. And if you don't believe me, get into shooting competition sometime and plan out your stage. As soon as that buzzer goes off, you forget everything. He missed the button to release the gun from the holster, and he gave himself one of the worst wedgies I've ever seen in my life. The holster did his job perfectly. It retained the gun.
Yeah.
But he pulled up so fast and hard, the pants went up with it, and the gun did not come out of the holster. Eventually, he did find the release button and was able to finish the stage, though.
Yeah, well, and that's a concern because, I carry a Serpa Blackhawk. I like that push-button retention. I've just done it so many times. Even if I were to not use that holster, my finger would still push that button automatically. But
and that's perfect that you're training that way. You've practiced using that release button, and it's just become natural for you. And even when you're not doing it, you're still in the motion of going for that button, even on a holster that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So you're not getting out of the habit.
Mm-hmm. It does. It slows down my draw stroke by about 0.2 of a second. I've timed it with shot timers and everything, but for me, that 0.2 of a second is worth it, simply because I've got little kids and I just want to feel secure that they can't take it out of my holster.
Absolutely. It's not going to fall out if you have to run across a parking lot or anything like that. Perfect. Yep.
I'm not sure I can run anymore. I'll be 60 next month, but that's a different story.
Oh, Skip, I got full faith in you, man.
Okay. Okay, Mike, when you're talking about strong side carry, what are some of the holsters for strong side carry that you think are pretty good quality?
As far as the different styles of strong side carry, you'll have a few different options. You'll have an outside the waistband with a straight drop, the gun is vertical, straight up and down. That would be typically right at that 3 o'clock position, be one of the faster draws, a little bit more concealable, but still outside the waistband. And for comfort, would be kind of a forward or FBI cant. And that'll be pushed back off the midline slightly to about the 4 o'clock position. And now, the reason for that, pushing it back a little further, is because if you have that forward cant to it, when you grip for the gun, you want your wrist straight yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're carrying with a forward cant at 3 o'clock, your wrist is going to be unlocked. Once the gun comes out, you need to reposition the grip on the gun. So as far as the different modes of carry and what types of holsters you're looking for, most people starting off purely for comfort will carry an outside the waistband holster. And an outside the waistband holster for like a straight up and down or straight drop would be at about the 3 o'clock position. So when you grab for the gun, the wrist is straight. And the 3 o'clock position at a straight drop holster is one of the faster holsters out there. Now, if you want something a little bit more concealable, it's going to be easier to hide, but still outside the waistband for comfort, maybe a holster that is got a kind of a forward cant or the FBI cant to it, but you'll push that back a little further behind you, almost above the back pocket, to about the 4 o'clock position. And the reason is because if it has that forward cant to it, you still want to have your wrist straight when you draw the gun out of the holster. If you have a forward cant and the gun is at your midline at 3 o'clock, the wrist is unlocked, gun comes out, then at that point you have to reposition the grip on the gun after the gun's out of the holster, and that's definitely not the time to do that. The other thing with that 4 o'clock position, with that forward cant to it, is the ability to have in that same location for the same draw stroke is to have an inside the waistband holster, which is really nice for concealed carry because you only have to hide from about the belt up instead of from the muzzle up.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for total concealment, hiding it from people that you either don't want to know or you don't think need to know, it's a little bit easier to hide. And having that inside the waistband at 4 o'clock at that same location, I could rotate between a couple different holsters and not have to change any of my training or anything like that. Now, the problem with the inside the waistband is, first off, I've had to start buying my trousers about 1 inch larger than the waistband to accommodate for that much wider Glock 19 that I typically will carry with me. It does take a little bit of time to get comfortable with, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just started experimenting with inside the waistband, a crossbreed holster up in the appendix position. And I got to tell you, that is different. And, as you get older, you gain weight. And the problem that I see on the range with inside the waistband with older guys is sometimes they have a little bit of Dunlap disease and they have to reach around a corner, to get to the gun. And that's not good either.
Yep. No, yeah. So you want to make sure that you're carrying in a holster that is safe for not only drawing, but also reholstering. So if you've got a problem with a little bit of those love handles going around and that muzzle is not in a safe direction as you're reholstering, if you have to kind of cant the muzzle in a little bit to find the holster itself, that can be horribly dangerous. Be very conscious of what style of holster that you need to carry, not only for how you have to conceal it, but what are your physical limitations to it.
Yeah. Well, Mike, that's all good stuff. We're almost out of time for this segment. Actually, when we come back, let's talk. We'll start out by talking about leather versus Kydeck, or maybe some of the composites when we come back. Can you hang on till the next segment, Mike?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This is Skip Coyle on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. While I am away, I want you to get on the internet and start surfing for a brand new holster, and then go ahead and buy it while I'm gone. This is Skip Coyle on Home Defense Show. We will be right back.
This is Phoenix Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Always use guns safely and wisely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want to talk to you about keeping your kids safe around guns. I've never been a big fan of trigger locks, but I have to tell you, I have found a product called Child Safe One. It's a trigger blocker, not a trigger lock, and it works fantastic. I tried it out on my kids, and they could not get the Child Safe One off the training gun. I gave them 5 minutes. I sat there and I watched them, and they couldn't do it. Folks, I am satisfied, more than satisfied, that my kids are safe around Child Safe One. Here's the good thing about it. I can get that lock off the gun in under 2 seconds, but my kids can't even figure out how it works. Child Safe One is a win-win for everyone in the family. My wife's happy because she knows the guns are secure. My kids are happy because they're safe. And I'm happy because when the wolf comes a-knocking, I've got that gun cocked, locked, and ready to rock in less than 2 seconds. So go to globalgunsafety.com and get Child Safe One today. That's globalgunsafety.com. Check it out now and tell them the Home Defense Show sent you.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like the movies and the good guys always won? In today's world, if you're forced to use your firearm to protect yourself, you will need protection. Firearms Legal Protection is here for you. FLP provides you with seasoned, experienced attorneys that handle your criminal and civil matters as a result of you protecting yourself. FirearmsLegal.com provides its members with uncapped attorney's fees, bail bond protection, and coverage in all 50 states. We are not a reimbursement plan. You can access uncapped attorney's fees for as low as $10 a month. Firearms Legal members are provided with educational services, training videos, and access to our vast national attorney network. While you're protecting yourself, let Firearms Legal protect you.
Listen up, folks. This is important. There are plenty of legal protection services out there, but none will protect you as well as Firearms Legal Protection. This is the one I use and the only one I recommend. Visit firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical and protect your family now. All right, folks, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Welcome back. We are speaking with Mike Visser from Silver Bullet Firearms and Training in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Mike, we were talking about different types of holsters, carry rigs. Let's talk about Kydex versus leather. Are you a leather man or a Kydex man?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, Skip, as far as the materials go, once you've decided how you're going to carry, whether it's outside the waistband, inside the waistband, if you're doing cross draw, strong side, if you're going to do pocket carry for one of the little micro mouse guns, you're going to do ankle carry because of the place you got to go, or even a belly band. So once you've decided on where you're going to carry, how you're going to do it, and what's your favorite carry mode, what type of material are you looking for? There's nylon, companies like Uncle Mike's and some of the Blackhawks. There's Kydex, fancy name for space-age hard plastic. Those are everywhere. There are companies all over the place making Kydex holsters because it's easy to make, inexpensive to make, and inexpensive to sell, so a lot of people can get a good holster for not a terrible amount of money. Mm-hmm. And then there's the leather. Leather, it's a classy look. You know, been around for eons and eons and long time. Now, they all have advantages, too. The nylon type holsters that you get from, like, Blackhawk Uncle Mike's, very inexpensive. They're kind of a semi-generic, semi-universal, one size fits a few different things. The problem with it is that if it fits a bunch kind of good, it doesn't fit anyone really well.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make a compromise as far as, you know, it doesn't really fit great, but it will hold it. I really don't have a terrible problem with that brand or that material of holster if you're going to be out in your backyard, you're out in the backwoods, you're chopping wood all day, you're mowing the lawn, and it's starting to get a little nasty weather, and you don't want to wreck your good leather holster. You want this less expensive holster on that you're not going to damage, but you still want to have your gun on you. Or if you're just going to the range and when you're done shooting at the target, you want to change your papers, you don't want to just leave your gun laying on the bench. You want to have something to carry it up with you, but you don't want to spend a lot of money for an all-day carry rig. Cool. Go for the nylon ones. I've got no issue with those. The Kydex ones and the leather holsters that are custom-made, fitted for a specific make and model, those are the features that you're looking for a true all-day carry rig. Get a holster that is made for your gun. You want to have good retention and make sure that doesn't just flop out. Have something that's going to be fitted so It'll hide the gun easier if you're going into places where it's required to hide it.
I had a Galco holster, strong side Galco leather holster that I carried years ago. It was a wonderful holster. I mean, the trigger was covered really nice, which I like, but this leather, there's just something about leather. I like the smell, and it was just comfortable. The leather was very comfortable on my hip, which is nice.
It is, yeah. Well, and we start looking at these two different materials as far as leather and Kydex. A lot of things to consider with these. The Kydex, first off, it is a very fast holster to draw from. Once the trigger guard is coming out from around where it locks in, it is a very smooth draw because there's no resistance or friction there. So the Kydex holsters are very, very fast to get the gun out of the holster. Now the problem with the Kydex is they are a little bulkier. You have to have the holster, which holds and contains the firearm. You have to have the attachment to the body, and then you have to connect these two things. So you're going to have a holster that sticks off of your body a good quarter to half of an inch more than some other type of holsters.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm at work, again, I don't have to hide the gun while I'm at work. The boss man tells me, Mike, you can carry outside the waistband. It helps with sales. I mean, people look to you and ask questions about why do you carry what, and they see that gun on your side and say, all right, Mike, you're the lead instructor here. Why do you carry that? Skip, I sell Glock 19s like they're coming out of my ears, man, all the time. And it's because I carry one, and I swear by that gun. So the outside the waistband Kydex holster is very fast, but it's a little bulkier. So then we get to the leather, the advantages of leather. First off, usually they're going to be quite a bit thinner. And you have two pieces of leather that are either pancaked together or other style design that they do. So leather is quite a bit thinner. They tuck in snugger and tighter to the body, but you do have to go through a break-in process of getting that leather stretched back out to the gun again. Again, you mentioned the Galco brand, the way that Galco holsters are made. They wet mold these holsters by hand around a gun. So when that leather dries out after the wet molding, they're going to tighten up, constrict, and shrink a little bit. So you want to make sure that the holster is stretched back out. Also, the inside of the holster is typically the rough grain, so you got to burnish that leather a little bit to make sure that it's going to smooth out. The way to do that, once you've broken in the holster and pushed the gun in there and let it set for 24 to 36 hours to stretch it out, then we have to burnish the inside of the holster by drawing and holstering about 100 times while you're watching the evening news at night.
Yeah, and that's good for your muscle memory too.
It is. That's absolutely perfect. So nice and smooth, in and out for about an hour to smooth out that leather. Now, because you have that little bit of friction there, the leather holsters are going to be a little bit slower as far as getting the gun out with that friction there. But I think they do hide a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So today, when I head out with the boys here in a little bit, I'm going to be carrying a Galco outside the waistband leather holster, the Model Combat Master for my Glock 19, when we head out. It's very comfortable being outside the waistband, and it's very, very thin holster with two pieces of leather sandwiched together. Just a super comfortable rig to carry.
Yeah.
Now, the other consideration or the concern that people have with Kydex is this is plastic. What's it going to do to the finish of my gun? You've heard that question before, Skip?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so what's it going to do to the finish of my gun? Well, all right, Kydex, yeah, it's hard plastic. Your gun is made out of steel. I know that which one of the two is a little bit harder. But the finish, of course,
Yeah.
absolutely get the finish. Any type of holster is going to start to rub on the finish. So people that are concerned about the Kydex say, I'm going to go to leather. All right. With the leather holsters, you have that's the top grain on the outside where it's nice and shiny and smooth, looks like your nice Sunday go-to-meeting shoes. Mm-hmm. The inside is that soft, that rough grain. Well, that rough grain can attract and capture things like dust, dirt, sand, lint, debris. Those things are acting as abrasives, which are going to be like sandpaper on the finish of your gun. So each one of these styles of holsters are going to do something to the finish of your gun. So if you're that concerned about the finish on this beautiful museum quality showpiece firearm, what I want you to do is after listening to this show, I want you to clean that firearm. I want you to put it in your safe with your white gloves on and never, ever touch that gun again. Folks, this is a carry gun. It's a work tool. It's going to get marred up. My gun that I carry has got about 25% of the finish worn off, but it's my gun. And I have done all of that wear to it. And that it gives it character.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's my gun with all those marks on it that I've done.
Yeah, mine's
and
the same way.
I don't care what that gun looks like.
Yep, it's like my old pickup truck. You know, I haul wood in it.
Yeah.
I do all these things. It's all beat up. I mean, the other day I ran over a fence post and I go, oh, well, there's a little more character there, right? They're like, what's that saying they say? Scars are tattoos with better stories. It's kind of like that.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, every one of my scars on my body, I've got a story for, and I know exactly how I got them. Absolutely. And the marks on my gun, this is not a museum-quality showpiece.
Right.
No guns are museum-quality showpieces. If it is, it would be probably in Cody, Wyoming at the Winchester Museum, or it'd be in the Smithsonian right now because it has some historical significance to it.
Yeah.
It's your carry gun. Carry it. Don't be afraid to get it marked up. If that's what you're afraid of, put it in the safe, never touch it again, buy something different that you're not so concerned and worried about.
Yeah, well, Glocks are, noted for that. They what was that old Timex commercial? It takes a licking and keeps on ticking. That's basically that's Glock's claim to fame, right? You beat them up, you run over them with your truck, they still keep going. The primary job of your carry gun is to save your life and the life of your family.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't worry about what that thing looks like. As long as it works, it works.
Now, Mike, we got about 1 minute left. Talk about practicing your draw stroke. How do you practice your draw stroke? Any tips on that?
Slowly and perfectly. Go through the 4-step process. Grip on the gun, support hand up to get it out of the way and up where the hand is going to meet. Step 2, get the gun up, straight up, out of the holster, straight out. Step 3 is going to be rotate the gun towards the target, join the hands together. Step 4 is going to be pushing the gun straight out in front of you, going straight out, not scooping up like a shovel and not casting out like a fishing pole. So that's why step 2 of getting the gun straight up and high, almost to the armpit, is so important. Because at step 3, the rotate and join, the gun should be aimed at the target as high as you can get it, push it straight out to step number 4, straight out and bang. But the key with this is practice makes permanent. Mm-hmm. Perfect practice makes perfect. So when you practice these steps, when you're starting to learn the draw stroke and starting to practice it for repetition, do it slowly. Start slow. Don't try to race and try to beat these guys like Dave Savigny and Bob Vogel. You'll never beat these guys. These guys are machines. I don't think they're actually from this planet. So when you start to, you've seen them shoot, I'm right.
They're robots, aren't they?
They are. So when you practice these things, do it slowly, methodically.
I practice in front of the mirror so that I can see what I look like. And then every once in a while, I'll have someone film me. Just use their iPhone or their cell phone or something. Just a little 10-second video, and you look at it, and you go, wow, I didn't know I was doing it that way. And then you can make changes to it.
Yeah, having that feedback of seeing it on the video or in a mirror is absolutely perfect.
Okay, well, Mike, we are about out of time for this segment, but I want to thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your knowledge with us. Before you go, please tell people how they can hook up with Silver Bullet Firearms and Training.
Yeah, folks, if you're looking for practice, looking for a new firearm, just looking to try something out, or looking for training or anything like that, you can find Silver Bullet Firearms at 5121 South Division Avenue. We're about 2 blocks north of 54th Street. You can find us on the web at silverbulletfirearms.com. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And also, if you just have a quick question about us and you want to talk to us real quick but you can't drive in, give us a call at 616-249-1911.
Awesome. I love that phone number. Folks, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, but while I'm gone, I want you to go into the bathroom with your training gun, a blue training gun, and your favorite holster. Sit there in front of the mirror and do about 150 repetitions of just practice your draw stroke until I get back. And when I come back in segment 4, we'll do the wrap-up, and we'll talk about what Skip thinks about all this thing about holsters and draw strokes and all the fun things that we do. This is Skip Coriel on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to my dad's Home Defense Radio show. You're gonna love it.
Hey folks, this is Skip Coriel, host of the Home Defense Show. I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 17 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coriel Civilian Combat. It'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book, by yours truly, Skip Coriel. This is Skip Coriel from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715 or visit elitefirearms.us. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coriel. Those last two segments have been pretty good. Mike Visser, good friend of mine, and you can see why. The guy's very, very knowledgeable. So I always love it when we have him on the show. What holster do you carry? Or even do you want a holster? There are certainly different types of carry. We talked primarily with Mike about on-body carry. You know, whether you have a shoulder rig or strong side carry, cross draw, belly bands, you know, all of those different ways of carrying. But there's also off-body carry. Now, I have some mixed emotions about off-body carry. You wouldn't think that it would be an emotional topic, but it really is. Because my wife carries off-body. I run across this a lot, especially with women in my class. They want to carry inside their purse. Why? Because they already have a purse. They don't have to add any equipment. They just stick the gun inside, and it's like it's not even there. And that, folks, is part of the problem. It's like it's not even there. Let me tell you a story. About a year and a half ago, I read an article about a lady in Idaho. She had never carried inside her purse before. Her husband bought her a concealed carry purse. So she had her gun inside it. They went to Walmart. Where do women put the purse when they're in the grocery store? They put it right up there where the kids go, right? In the grocery shopping cart. So her purse is up there in the shopping cart. Her 2-year-old son is right next to the purse. She's shopping. She turned, she's reading the labels on whatever product she was looking at. What do 2-year-olds want to do? They want to get inside mommy's purse. There's all kinds of fun stuff inside mommy's purse. They're just curious, right? Well, this is a sad story. The 2-year-old found mommy's gun in the purse, pulled it out, pressed the trigger, shot mommy in the head. Mommy died. Now, mommy's dead. The 2-year-old little boy has no mommy, and the father has the guilt knowing that he bought this concealed carry purse for his wife. And if he hadn't bought that, his wife would still be alive. That's how he's going to be thinking. Plus the loneliness from not having his wife anymore, the love of his life. You know, I heard that story, and I had a long heart-to-heart talk with my own wife, Sarah, because she carries in her purse. And I have seen her come inside from buying the groceries, set the purse down on the table, and then start putting away groceries, or maybe run out to get the kids or to get the groceries, but the purse was left unattended. You can't do that, folks. Sarah, she loves the kids just deeply, and they adore her. But we talked about it, and we had a running conversation for probably a month. And she tried several different methods of carry. With a belly band, she tried with a holster. She didn't like any of them. You know, women don't like things attached to their hips. It doesn't make them look more slender, and you have to wear clothing over the top of that as well. And women are very fashion conscious. I'm not like that, so it's hard for me to understand it. Well, we finally ended up with a compromise. She carries her purse like she always does, but the gun is not inside her purse. She carries a second purse that is much, much smaller. It's just large enough to hold her gun. That way it doesn't rotate around inside the wrong way. It's very snug, it's very secure. And she keeps that one attached to her body, very close up. So if a purse snatcher robs her, he's going to grab the big purse. And I've told her, I said, hey, if someone tries to grab your purse, let him have the purse. Just let go of it. Because she's got to protect the kids, and she'll have to draw her firearm at that point. Ladies, purse snatchers, what's the first thing they go for? The purse. I watched a video on activeselfprotection.com a couple weeks ago. A lady was standing in the checkout line. Man next to her grabbed her purse and just ran away at full run. She was drugged down to the ground because she wasn't letting go of that purse. He drug her outside of the building and just started wailing on her face with his fist. Eventually, he got the purse and took off, but it took probably 10 seconds, and this woman took a huge beating. A lot of it is psychological. Stop thinking about your purse as your purse. When that gun is inside that purse, it's no longer a purse, it's a gun. The purse is my gun. So when you come in from grocery shopping, the first thing you do is you open up the gun safe, you put that purse inside the gun safe. Because if you don't, your kids could die. And we don't want that to happen. No one wants that to happen. The whole idea of carrying the gun is so that you can protect your kids and your husband or your wife, correct? We get beat up a lot, us gun owners, by anti-gunners who try to tell us that the gun is more likely to be used against us. Let's not prove them right. You have to be responsible in the way that you carry that gun. I like strong side on my hip with a retention holster. It's fast. It's easily accessible. I mean, I can get that gun out. I've got it cocked, locked, ready to rock in right about 1 second from the draw to the first shot on target. Takes me about 1 second to do that. Typically, that will be fast enough. Accessibility, to me, is a very important option. I don't worry about fashion. I mean, if it's comfortable, that's icing on the cake. But for me, accessibility is the most important feature of your concealed carry rig. Because you can have the nicest gun, the prettiest gun, the most powerful gun. You can be the best shot in the world, but if you can't get the gun out in time, you're going to die. Your family's going to die. Accessibility is very, very important. Got to have that gun out, cocked, locked, ready to rock at max time of 2 seconds. All of these armed encounters, these violent encounters, they have one thing in common. They're extremely violent and they're extremely sudden. The bad guy that gets you is the one that you don't see coming. And everyone can get ambushed. Anyone can kill, and anyone can be killed. Make sure that it's secure. Make sure the trigger is covered. Any holster that does not cover the trigger is worthless. Get rid of it. I've been out on the range in advanced classes, the level 1 beyond basic CPL class. That's where I teach them how to draw from concealment safely and wisely. One of the things that these people learn real quickly is they have the wrong holster. A lot of people will come to class and they'll buy a $1,000 gun and then they'll buy a $9 holster. Typically they're nylon and they close up and they're just kind of clipped onto your belt. and they're just hanging there, and they move back and forth. They're not secure at all. Those kinds of holsters are dangerous because they move around, because the gun falls out. You don't want that. A good holster for Kydex, the one that I have, Serpa Blackhawk retention holster, $39.95. But I always know where it's going to be. When I put it on my belt, it stays there. It's secure. It slows me down by 0.2 of a second because of the retention button. It's a good trade for me. Leather. If you go with leather, make sure the holster does not close up on you when you unholster. Sometimes leather holsters will do that. They close up, and then when you go to reholster, you have to point the gun, the muzzle, at your belly to try and pry open that leather holster again. I mentioned I have a crossbreed inside the waistband holster. It's a hybrid. It's made from good top grain leather on the backside and then molded plastic on the outside. So it never closes up, but it's still fairly comfortable. Experimenting with appendix carry, and so far I'm liking it, and I think I'll really like it once I lose another 5 pounds. I'm down 7 pounds now, but I really need to lose another 10 in order to really, really feel good. It's just one more reason to stay in shape, guys. Stay in shape. Don't let yourself go. I talked about Dunlap disease. That's where your belly Dunlapped over your belt, right? If you've got that big roll of fat hanging out over your belt, you have to reach around the corner to get the gun out of your holster. And then when you reholster, you're muzzling yourself. You can't do that. Probably the most important aspect of your draw stroke is trigger control. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. The gun won't go off until you press the trigger. I have drawn and reholstered my pistol so many tens of thousands of times the same way that I can't do it any other way. When I draw my firearm, my finger is right down the slide above the trigger guard, and I can't touch that trigger until I consciously make a decision that I'm on target and I'm ready to shoot. If you're going to carry a gun, get the proper training and do it safely and do it wisely. Folks, we are running out of time already. Before I go, I want to remind you to get more training. Go to mwtac.com. That's Michael Whiskey Tango Alpha Charlie.com. Sign up for a concealed carry class or an advanced concealed carry class with my company, Midwest Tactical Training. We're right here in West Michigan. You'll get excellent training by excellent instructors. I also want to thank our advertisers. Firearms Legal Protection. Great protection for you and your family. Remember, defeating the bad guy is just the first step. After that, you have to survive the judicial system. And the court system can be every bit as brutal as the guy sticking a knife in your face. So go to firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical. Child Safe One, go to globalgunsafety.com. Child Safe One, that will keep your kids safe from your guns. Remember, guns protect your family. Don't let them hurt your family. Be responsible. Lock those guns up. Also, Elite Firearms and Training, right here in Middleville, Michigan. Larry Jackson will take care of you. He will help you choose the best gun for you. It's very personal. It's very intimate. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. Next week, we'll be back with more cutting-edge technology and training on how to protect you and the ones that you love. Until then, remember your purpose in life is to find something greater than yourself and serve it. Always remember God, family, country in that order. It's important how you live, but it's equally important how you die. Your family and the ones you love need your protection, so train, always train, stay alert, stay alive. Until next week on the Home Defense Show, this is your host, Skip Coryell. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best in home defense.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!